Another one. Another one. Touchdown Jags! Ball game!
Another Jags podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to another Jags podcast, episode 52. Just a warning to everyone out there. We're a lively bunch tonight, so just be ready. We have a lot to talk about. But before we get to all that, we want to remind everyone that we are on Twitter at Another Jags Pod, Facebook and Instagram at Another Jags Podcast. You can hit us up in any of those, and we will make sure to include you in our show. We want to include you in our show because you are fans just like we are. Guys, we're going to jump right in tonight. We have some topics we want to discuss. We have some Twitter questions we're going to get to eventually, but we're going to talk about the possible return of Leonard Fournette. It looks like that's happening. We're going to be talking about the lack of an offensive coordinator that the Jags have yet to fill. But before we do any of that, some news has been made this week about Kyler Murray, quarterback / outfielder in baseball from Oklahoma. He is declared for the NFL draft. He has 72 hours to, I guess, rescind that, as from what I understand. But let's just assume that he does enter the draft overall. Do you want Kyler Murray drafted by the Jaguars in the first, or I'll even say second round?
I like how we're jumping straight to Kyler Murray.
Absolutely.
Like, we have no offensive coordinator. We have a quarterback all over the place. We could get free agents, but we're going Kyler Murray.
Listen, the official season isn't even over yet. We're going to have so much time to talk about all this stuff, so we might as well talk about
Well,
what
let me
is
say
topical.
right now, I'm all in on Kyler Murray.
Oh my God.
Really?
I was so hoping you'd say that.
Okay, I'm all in on this guy.
You're all in, like
Yeah,
you might
let's
as
do
well
it.
turn your hat backwards.
Let's do it. Hat backwards. We're going in. All right, let's do it. I mean,
All right, why? Okay.
All right, who was the last Heisman winner to
You're
be?
already
Who was
laughing
the
about
last
this.
Heisman quarterback winner to be bad? Tebow? How long ago was that?
Okay, well, let's say the last. Let's go like the last 10.
RG3
out there right now.
The last
RG3 had a
10,
good
there might
year.
be like 2 pretty good ones.
Winston's still kind of left to be said right now.
Okay, so there's a lot, but they all went. But my point, they went in the first round. So my point is, and all of them early, besides Tebow.
He's still in the first round.
Yeah, but exactly. So someone's going to take him in the first round. So why not us? Why not give him a shot? How many games did we win this year?
How many games did we win? Or are we
How
going
many
to
games did we win?
Sorry,
we won 5 games this year. Okay, what do we have to lose by getting Kyler Murray? What do we have to lose? Another season? We were some of us kind of want Tua and Fromm, and we're kind of banked on that already.
What do we have to lose? A stud offensive lineman from Alabama?
Okay, that's fair. But is that really going to tilt the balance? I mean, we just drafted our quote-unquote stud offensive lineman from Alabama 2 years ago.
Let me just say, do you want them to draft him?
Yes, I do.
At 7?
Yes, I do.
Really?
At 7. I hope he falls to us.
You'd prefer that than us trading up?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, because I don't want to give up anything, and I think Kyler Murray could be pretty good. I mean, the measurements came out. He's somewhere between 5'9", 5'10". Okay, so he's not 5'10". We'll call him 5'10". He's a Russell Wilson type player, but he's faster than Russell Wilson. He has a stronger arm than Russell Wilson.
He's not as big, though.
He's also an inch shorter,
he's an
like
inch
30
shorter.
pounds lighter.
Yeah.
But he can gain weight. He can still grow.
And then he slows
He
down.
just needs to hang out with Leonard Fournette.
he's only 19, 20 years
Go
old.
hang out with Leonard.
So I mean, that's
21?
the big knock. He's slight.
That's the knock. Okay, besides his size, there's no knock on the guy.
But that's a big knock.
He might have one of the best arms in the draft.
Well, you say
we talk about Drew Lock's arm like it's the golden arm.
Okay, arm strength, I agree, but another knock is that he's throwing against defenses that don't play defense.
Well, so did
Baker Mayfield.
yeah, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, but he's got moxie.
You could also say that Will Grier hasn't faced too many good defenses.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. But Will Grier also put up great stats and is a big.
Kyler Murray won the Heisman.
Okay.
The Heisman, the best player in the country award.
Dude, he's little.
Yeah.
You really want to take a reach like that on a quarterback after Leftwich, Gabbert, Bortles.
Yes.
We can't afford to reach.
Let me ask you
man.
this. Let me take it a step further. Would you rather have Murray than Haskins?
No.
I'm asking Jason right now. He's on the hot seat.
I love the hot seat, me and Marone. But this is what I think. I would rather have Haskins, but it's not by a lot. It's not.
Wow.
I am intrigued by Kyler Murray, and I get it. But come on, man. The dude is so electric when he plays. That's what we need, man. I'm so sick of this tall, crappy quarterback that can't throw and can manage the game. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Give me a guy. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. But at least he's exciting until then.
You know who else looked electric was D.D. Westbrook.
I don't
Took him a
understand
couple
what your
years.
point is right now. D.D.
D's good. Yeah, D.D. is okay at this
He's
point.
okay. He's got
It's
best
taken him a
receiver.
while. He is our best receiver.
Going
But
into
that's not
next
saying
year.
a lot. My point being is he's playing against defenses that don't cover anybody. Yeah, he's got a great arm strength, guaranteed. Nobody's knocking that whatsoever. He's got good arm strength, but you know what? He's throwing to open receivers all the time. And he's little, dude. He's so little.
I've never heard Jason be so all in on a person, but also agree with every negative aspect of him.
No, this is where I'll disagree with his negatives, okay? If we went all throughout history and looked at conferences people played in, that means nothing. That means absolutely nothing. If you want to give me he's small and he could get hurt, I'll give you that. But lack of conference play, I mean, come on now.
Well, I mean, I'll give you that too, because I mean, how many Alabama quarterbacks have made it in the last 10 years?
Okay,
as a
well, how
starting
about this
quarterback?
then for an argument? Name a quarterback other than Drew Brees, Russell and Flutie that's that size that was good.
How many were that size and were bad?
All the rest of them that we've never heard of.
But how many have tried? I mean, no one comes in.
Shot. That's
Has,
the point.
has anyone ever come in this electric and then you were like, oh, they could be
Electric.
exciting, but they're a little small, and then they didn't pan out?
I forgot about electric. That's like upside potential.
That's
think.
as good as
the
Moxie,
same thing.
wouldn't you say?
Fair enough on that point.
I mean,
Isn't that the guy from Varsity Blues?
I thought it was a restaurant. That's all.
That's the Mox. But close.
I mean, can you think of someone that was like, man, they're kind of small. I don't know if they're going to make it. And they didn't? RG3, maybe. I'll give you, RG3. But who else?
Okay, I'll go back to James' question. Second round, absolutely we take him. First round, no way.
Okay. I'd be all right with him first round if we got a veteran quarterback where he kind of had a little bit of time to kind of develop behind somebody. I just don't know about him first overall as our guy starting next year.
I will agree with Jason in that I am tired of the tall, prototypical looking quarterback that manages the game and doesn't go win a game. I mean, who have we had besides Burnell? I mean, that can ever say that's our quarterback that's been like that. So in that sense, yes, I just don't know if Murray is the guy. I understand he's exciting, but here's what concerns me, and I think here's what is going to be really going to hurt his draft stock is Lamar Jackson's performance against the Chargers in the playoffs, because the Chargers played one game against Lamar Jackson, and that's all it took for them to figure him out. And when they played him again in Baltimore, it was a totally different story. Gus Bradley's defense figured him out, and it just seems like these fast quarterbacks, once they're on tape after a few games, these NFL defenses, sophisticated defenses, figure these guys out and they shut them down. Now, is that fair to Murray? Not necessarily, but that has been the case so far. Aside from Michael Vick, and everyone wants to compare every smaller quarterback that runs to Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson scrambles. I don't think he runs. He scrambles. He's going to run behind the line of scrimmage like crazy, but he's going to wait for a receiver to get open and throw the ball downfield. He's not the guy that's going to be running, all the time. Look for the first read. It's not there and then take off. He's going to look through his progression and then look through it again. But he's just, he's like Tecmo Bowling it, just running back and forth all over the field. But he never seems to cross the line of scrimmage that much. So I don't know. It's an interesting proposition. I will say this too, that something we haven't said. The league is changing. It is becoming a faster and smaller league. It seems like at almost every position except for maybe the middle of the defensive line in terms of like defense and the quarterback relating to it. So yeah, his size absolutely scares me. I don't think the Jaguars will draft him. I don't want to take him in the first round, but in the second round, yes. But man, he is. I mean, he's just like a little bit bigger than me. Look at me.
Honestly, he is. I mean, you compare him to Michael Vick, dude. Michael Vick is 6 foot, 216 pounds.
Right.
I mean, that's not even close. That's not even the same comparison.
That's Drew Brees.
As far as like exactly, that's like Breeze as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that is kind of your bottom edge of quarterbacks that have been successful. And yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson's a great comparison, except for the fact that I do think, well, first of all, let me get this out. I can't say Kyler because that's the dumbest name I've ever heard in my entire life. It's either Tyler
Dang.
or Kyle. So I'm going to call him Mr. Murray from now on because I have a
that
problem
was
with
just
that.
mean.
It's mean. I can't stand it.
You've been
Kyler.
sitting on that for a while.
I have. I'm going to try not to say it, but
Start calling you Joler.
so Mr. Murray is arm strength's all he's got, man. That's all he's got.
That's not all he's got speed like
I mean,
crazy.
okay, can I just take a moment here on this Lamar Jackson point?
Sure.
It seems to be hovering and no one's saying it. If Lamar Jackson was in this year's draft and you're picking at 7, would you take Lamar Jackson at 7?
No, I would not. I would not have last year.
But you wouldn't this year. So you would not take Lamar Jackson right now at 7.
I would not.
So if the Jags were drafting 29 again like they were last year, would you take Kyler Murray then at 29?
Very possible.
You just don't like him as a top 10.
I don't think he's a top 20. And I was all about Lamar Jackson last year at that pick. He's not that pick, man. I'm sorry. We're reaching at that pick, and we don't need to reach anymore.
Yeah, taking him at 7 is
we need
scary.
something like somewhat solid, whether it's like a stopgap until all the good quarterbacks come out in 2020. We don't need to reach again this year, man. We need to fill other spots with great players. And then, hey, if this year is not that great, fine. We'll get one of those great quarterbacks next year.
Look at what we've done, though. We've passed on Deshaun Watson because we were picking too high. Passed on Lamar Jackson because we're picking too high. At what point do we just be like, screw where we're picking, let's get a guy that can win games?
Dude, I said we should have taken Deshaun Watson. I said we should have taken Lamar Jackson.
We're going to do the same thing with Kyler Murray? Kyler Murray's good, but he's about 10 picks too early to be our franchise quarterback.
Deshaun Watson, you can't compare to him, first of all. And Lamar was way later in the draft. Again, if we were picking like 20th, it'd be a different conversation for me.
If we're picking 20th, we wouldn't need a quarterback, though.
Possibly.
So we need a quarterback. I mean, eventually we've got to get our guy.
We were picking way later than that last year, and we needed a quarterback, obviously.
Well, the franchise didn't think so. They signed him to an extension.
Well, of course, but I'm just saying he's not a top 15. He's not a top 20 in my mind. He's a reach.
I just think if you think he's going to be your franchise quarterback,
I don't think he is.
I'm saying if you think the quarterback would be your franchise quarterback in the first round, it doesn't matter where in the first round you draft him. If he's going to be your franchise quarterback, take him. Like, if he's at 20,
We did that with Bortles.
if he's at 25,
exactly.
Yeah, we did that with
thing.
Bortles.
Okay, I agree. That is sound logic. He's just not that guy. He might get hurt in preseason or camp. I mean, Calais Campbell falls on that
there's
guy.
all these new rules. You can't even hit quarterbacks anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair point. I still have an issue with height-wise, but when it comes to the rules in the NFL now, I mean, you can't touch a quarterback anymore. I mean, one of the teams are literally training their, I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was the Browns, where they were literally doing drills, so where they were running at a dummy, hitting them, and flipping to their back, so they would not have weight on a quarterback. In front of you. If you're 5'10", it's hard to just sit in the pocket, step up, and throw it when you have a guy that's anywhere between 6'5" and 6'8", coming at you, trying to swat the ball away. I mean,
Hey, you know what quarterback is 6'5"? Blake Bortles.
Bortles.
You know how many batted balls he had? About 8,040.
he also can't
So
throw
I
the ball
think-
over his head.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I just think, I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like height is overplayed in terms of scouting a quarterback. But at the same time, you look at him on film and he just looks really small. I mean, Kyler Murray, that is. Like, he looks exceptionally small to me.
Dude, if he was like a yoked 5'10", I might have a different opinion on him, but he's not. He's like a wiry 5'10".
Right.
I know it's a different position, but I will say, I mean, I said the same thing of D.D. Westbrook being too small and that he was going to get creamed and get hurt within the first season, and he's proved me wrong on that side. So, I mean, he can be short and be durable at the same time, but...
All right, so we're real quick, just so we know where everyone stands. Yes or no on this?
Well, I got one more question before we get to that,
Okay.
because this is for Jason. Can you go to the combine and not measure? Like, can you not have your hands, your height, and your weight done? I know you cannot do the 40.
I've never heard of it happening.
I haven't either. That's my question. Do you think he goes and doesn't do that?
No. If he's going to do that, he's just going to skip the combine and just do a pro day.
Well, why not? He can still throw and do all the other stuff.
I don't think that's ever...
They can show
No
how
one's
fast
ever-
he is on the 40, show how
I think
he
if he's going to go to
throws.
the combine, he's going to get measured because, I mean, I don't think he's too concerned with his size. Neither am I.
Okay.
So,
All right.
if
Sorry,
you can
James.
play, you can play.
So Jason is a firm yes. Draft him number 7 if
Yep.
he's on the board. Joey, you're a firm no.
Absolutely no.
Robert?
Mine would be the stipulation: if we got a veteran quarterback, I'd be all right with it.
At 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we had a guy for me to take over next year, I'd be all right going with them at 7.
All right. I'm going to say no. I don't think they should, but if they did, that'd be kind of exciting.
Exactly.
But I don't think they will. I just don't see Tom Coughlin taking him.
I mean, exciting is those. We can move on, but exciting is hard for me because Manziel was exciting, but Manziel wasn't.
Manziel was an idiot. That was a different exciting. That was like, what is he going to do?
He was so flashy. I mean,
he had off the field issues.
Huh?
Yeah.
He had off the field issues. If it wasn't for those, we don't know how he would have been.
Right.
Probably not good.
I see your point, but I think it's too different. To me, that's two different excitings. One's like, is this guy going to...
These two showed up drunk to walkthroughs. I mean, I'm hoping Kyler Murray doesn't show up drunk to walkthroughs.
No.
It would only take him like 2 beers because he weighs like 165 pounds.
175.
Just saying.
So you and Kyler Murray kind of have something in common. Huh?
I weigh way more than that, Jason.
All right, let's keep it moving. The Jaguars and Leonard Fournette had a little sit-down, clear the air meeting. Does that bode well for him returning to the team next season? Is that all but solidify that he will be back?
He's absolutely back at this point. But I don't think it bodes anything. That doesn't show me anything. That shows like you understand they tried to trade you during the season. They tried to trade you kind of at the end of the season. Nobody would take you. They cut your bonuses and that's all you got left, man. So, I mean, he's kind of in a rock and a hard place. Hopefully that pushes him to mature. But I mean, I don't think that bodes much of anything as far as at this point. We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, I think he's coming back, but it doesn't bode well for his future here. This has the I'm walking when I can written all over it to me. So he'll do what he's got to do to finish out his contract here, and then in my opinion, he's gone. I mean, how do you repair that? What's happened?
I'm wondering what his agent is telling him at this point. I mean, you have a couple bad years as a running back. That's hard to come back from in the NFL when there just seems to be new running backs popping up all over the place.
It's not just he had a couple bad years. He didn't get to play for over half the year, 2 years.
Right.
I mean, that's almost even worse in some ways. It's one thing you've had a slump, but it's another thing you've been hurt for 2 years straight. And that's scary for, I think, over anything else. I mean, the off the field issues, obviously that's going to have an issue for another team, but trying to get a player and take over a contract and then expecting to pay him the following year, I mean, that's hard for another team to want to take that.
I mean, if he likes football at all, not even loves football, but if he likes it at all, he's got to understand going into this year that he's got to put up like sophomore LSU numbers, or he's not going to get re-signed or paid for anything.
Right.
I mean, we can get into the running back coach thing when we talk about stuff later on. I'm sure there'll be some Twitter questions that kind of revolve around that kind of thing. But I know Fred Taylor verbally on the radio reached out and said, hey, I'm willing to help any Jaguar young running back. I'm in South Florida. You want to train with me during the summer? I'll show you how to take care of your body. I'll show you the nutrition. I'll show you what you need to do. Will Fournette take advantage of that? I'd be willing to bet not a chance. And that just kind of shows who he is.
I mean, we're talking about Leonard Fournette. I mean, of course he's going to try to put up big numbers this year. Why wouldn't he?
Because he can't stay healthy?
I don't know, but he's not going to be like, oh, my contract, this is a big year for my future. I better play hard.
Yeah, but
no one's thinking like that. They're going to do whatever he can. You don't think the man's taking care of his body in the offseason?
No, I don't think he did it all this past season.
But you don't think he's going to this year?
I mean, that's hard. You got to get up early. You got to eat right. I mean, you got to show up on time to stuff. That's difficult.
I mean,
that sounded like Leonard Fournette. Man, I gotta show up. I gotta show up to stuff. What you got today? Stuff.
I got stuff at 2, stuff at 6. I mean,
I can't be late.
When he's healthy, he's one of the best running backs in football. So if he can stay healthy, then I hope he's with us. I mean, I don't see it. I mean, you can't bring a guy back after taking his incentives away. That's messed up. If my job did that to me, I would be looking for my next job as soon as I could.
There have been cases where teams have given incentives, given money back to players, on kind of like a goodwill type deal. If that were to happen, they might have had to sit down and say, look, we're taking it away, but if you have a good year, you start becoming a professional, You come to stuff on time. If you get hurt, you come to rehab on time. We'll give you that money. That could have been said behind closed doors. And I think maybe, hopefully, that's what it was. And they say, but look, we have to see a change in you. You were voted a captain. You were picked 4th overall in the draft. This offense is supposed to revolve around you, and you have not held up your end of the bargain. And because of that, you have had your incentives taken away. But if we can turn the page on this past season and start afresh in 2019, there's a chance that you could see those incentives. I mean, and maybe that happened, and maybe that was enough to wake him up. But as has been said a lot lately, what he's shown the first 2 years is, yes, when healthy, yes, when he's trying, he's an elite back. But unfortunately, that's not a lot of the time. When he goes through the motions, he's an average back. And if I'm his agent, if I'm his, the people around him, I'm saying, look, man, you got 6 more years of good running back left in you. Tread on the tires. You need to make this count. And then that's it. After that, I'm not saying he's going to be out of the league in 6 years, but his value is certainly going to go down. The average lifespan of a running back in the NFL is 9 years, something like that on average. So of good ones.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I'm in his camp, I'm in his ear saying, come on, wake up. It's already, you're already 2 years, in on this whole thing. This is your chance to really make some money. So don't be stupid about it. And hopefully he's hearing that both from his people and from the Jaguars. Because look, I mean, they are a different team when he's healthy and running well. I mean, we saw that this year.
As a Jaguar fan, you got to hope that's what happens. I mean, the reason I'm so passionate about not liking him is because he's really, really good when he wants to be and can be. He's not a bum. If he was a bum, I wouldn't even talk about him. I mean, the fact is like he could be phenomenal, and he's not. And that just, man, that makes me mad.
Jason?
I mean, there's a lot to talk about with the offensive coordinators. We're going to get there in a second. But how can you blame Leonard Fournette for not being productive behind the offensive line he had to run behind this year?
I haven't blamed him for not being productive. I've blamed him for not giving 100%.
So either way, what do you expect? I mean, you haven't given him 100%. Why is he give you 100%? You've given him Corey Robinson, Patrick Omameh, and Eric Flowers. But you want him to give you 100%? That seems a little one-sided.
So what, the team can't expect him to come into camp after the year we had last year?
Leonard Fournette can't expect the team to put the best players around him?
They did, and everybody got hurt. You should still try.
They did. Because they drafted...
Fournette did not
Because they drafted Taven Bryan instead of drafting an offensive lineman. And if I'm Leonard Fournette, that's kind of pissing me off.
Because our offensive line last year played very well.
I mean, the left side was decent. We brought in a free agent in the left side, and then we're phasing out the other two on the right.
Our offensive line last year played very well. Fournette had a good year. Why would you not expect him to come in ready to play? And if the line gets hurt, okay, so you just stop? Sorry, guys, I'm going to fake an injury for a while and not show up to rehabilitation? I mean, come on, man. You're a professional. You're an adult. It's your job.
I would expect the Jags to put some people around him to make him successful. And I don't think any running back, you could put your boy Fred Taylor in his prime behind, who was out there this year, and would not be productive.
Problem is he wasn't out there.
He wasn't. And yet this year you want them to take a quarterback that's a question versus a stud offensive lineman.
Yeah, because if your quarterback, I mean, you can get linemen in the draft, in free agency. It's not like you can pick people up.
On the left side?
I would rather have linemen through free agency. But,
okay.
I mean, I get it. If you need it, you need it. But you got to give him some help. Norwell was a good start, but Norwell coming back, if you can get Robinson back on the left tackle healthy, I think you can have quarterback scrambling around back there. And what's to say he couldn't learn how to be a Russell Wilson-esque scrambler? He has the arm. If he can learn to get outside the pocket and not take off past the line of scrimmage, he could develop into Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had 4 more years of college experience before he came in the NFL on Kyler Murray. I mean, he was 50 when he came into the league. So, I mean, who's to say that Kyler Murray couldn't learn that? And that gives you a better chance than having I'd rather take my chances with a scrambling quarterback behind a crappy offensive line than a running back that I know is going to get hurt unless he has good blocking. That's what those are my odds.
I'd rather fix what we can fix. Fix the offensive line, fix wide receiver, fix tight end, and get the quarterback we can get, and see what happens next year.
All right, let's move on.
All right. You going to talk about Leonard Fournette anymore?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so you need some Twitter questions?
Yeah, let's do
Does that
some
sound
Twitter
good with y'all?
questions.
Okay.
Let's hear from some other people besides us.
Okay. All right.
By the way, can we just say real quick, like, we don't have production meetings about this podcast.
You can't tell?
Yeah, I know, right? For anyone that was wondering.
Was that bad, James? You have to like.
No, I just want to say before we get, because I'll listen to our podcast after the fact, and if you hear these long pauses after Jason, reads the Twitter questions, because we are hearing them for the first time.
Yeah, it's a straight reaction.
We basically get in the room, say, all right, give them to us, and so.
I used to send them to y'all, but no one would read them.
Well, that's
so
true
I
too.
stopped doing that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, this first question.
You sent Twitter questions?
Just once. It was one time.
This first question is from Michael Harrison, and he's at Mike Tubbs H. Okay. He says, it was released that the Jags are interviewing Mike McCoy today. I read that when he was the offensive coordinator in Denver in 2009, he helped Kyle Orton put up some good passing numbers. However, everything after the 2009 season and the 2012 season, he's been not too great. What are y'all's thoughts?
I mean, I heard about Mike McCoy as well. He also did some stuff with Tebow in Denver as well. That is worth mentioning. It's funny to me, these names that come up for all these coaches, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, head coaches. It seems to me that when you get in the NFL as a coach, like, it's hard to get out of the NFL.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like there's this revolving door of, you go here, and we'll make it work with whomever. I feel like when you get to that level, like, offenses, how to call plays. And this is just another name of a guy who's been in the league and knows how to be a professional and knows kind of what a NFL season looks like. And so, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to do cartwheels in the middle of the road over Mike McCoy or whatever. But is that his name?
Yeah, Mike McCoy.
Okay.
Yeah,
it sounded wrong.
He was the
coming out
coach of the Chargers after he was the coordinator in Denver.
And he was with the Chargers for a little while. He kind of, I don't know. They thought he was going to get fired sooner than he did, but doesn't make me super excited. But I'm not sure if there is a guy out there of the names that we've heard that I've been like, yes, we have to get him. So I don't know. I'm neither here nor there on him, really.
To me, it seems like you can draw something from any coordinator that you can hire. Like, some guy worked with some guy as either a quarterback's coach or a coordinator at some point in their career. So if you're taking Kyle Orton as your guy, you're stretching, that might be much of a stretch, because I mean, you can trace people's coaching trees back to anywhere. That's why these guys are in the league, because they had some association with somebody good at some point. I don't know, Mike McCoy, John DeFilippo, Bevel with Russell Wilson. Like, you can trace back to a single guy somewhere. And if we're tracing back to Kyle Orton, I don't know.
I mean, honestly though, that's kind of where we're at. I mean, what offensive coordinator wants to come in when Marone might be on his last year, and if you're tied to Marone, you're done after a year. You don't know who the quarterback's going to be. The offensive line stinks. You have running backs that don't want to play. I mean, we really can't be picky. I mean, Jason, honestly, I was joking when we walked in, saying, "Man, put your hat, put it in there, put your resume out there." But I mean,
I'm thinking about it.
you should, because at
I'm
this
under
point,
40. I have a 5 o'clock shadow. I'll spread the offense out.
Hey, and they're hiring good-looking coaches.
You can wear a hoodie.
That's like one of the things.
I'll wear
So,
a backwards visor.
I mean, I think we're in a really bad place as far as that goes, and we don't have the option to be picky.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's many people that are going to want to come here in general. And on top of that, I mean, McCoy, I mean, the thing that makes me nervous with him, and again, we just need someone to fill in the spot at this point, but I mean, he just came from the Cardinals as the offensive coordinator, and I guess you could say they're in the kind of the same position we are in, and they didn't do very good.
Yeah, their
either,
offense was
so,
not great.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really see much change if we bring him over here until we can lock down all of the open, holes we have right now.
Listen to these names really quick. I'm going to read off a few names to y'all. Just tell me what you think. Cliff Kingsbury, Freddie Kitchens, Vic Fangio, Matt LaFleur, Bruce Arians, Adam Gase, Zach Taylor, and Brian Flores.
I think of a big green waste management dumpster
Exactly.
when I hear those names.
Those are the 8 new coaches in the NFL that just got hired by 8 different teams. So if those are the names of the new coaches, really besides Bruce Arians, there's not one of those in there that I'm going, wow.
And he has left Twitch.
And those are the head coaches. So we're talking about coordinators now. So if you're a Jaguars fan and you thought we were going to bring in some flashy offensive coordinator that was going to light the league on fire when we don't even know who our quarterback is, that's a pipe dream. That's not going to happen unless you want to really roll the dice and get some young guy fresh out of college or that's had one successful year in the NFL as a position coach, whether that's quarterback, running back, or wide receiver, and you just want to take your chances on them. But that's not going to happen. You know why? Because this year, the success of this year holds the fate of Doug Marrone, Dave Caldwell, and Tom Coughlin. And those 3 are not about to go risk their future on some unknown commodity. They're going to get a guy that has been in the league for a while, that knows how to do things, and that's what McCoy is. He's a safe pick for these guys, and that's it. They're going to sit him down and say, here's what we want to do. We want to run the ball. We want to manage the game clock. Can you do that? Yep, I can do that. Okay, then let's go. But by the way, we don't have a quarterback. That's okay. I'll take the job.
I mean, the quarterback aside, let's throw this out there. I mean, we do have a potential Pro Bowl running back, and one of our biggest issues is the running back locker room, getting those guys their head straight and all that. And the number one name out there right now, which I'm pretty sure we actually signed him at this point, is Terry Robisky as our running backs coach. So to throw out, he's been in the league for a long time. The last time he actually coached running backs was 1986. He's been an offensive coordinator.
What?
He's been in and out. Exactly. That's my point, man. That's where we're at.
But he's been a coordinator. It's not like he's been not in football.
Dude, but that's where we're at, man.
Those coaching rooms aren't what we think they are, man.
No? Well, maybe they're not. Maybe
It's a
I
bunch
don't know.
of guys that are just friends, and they all know the game equally, and there's a chain of command on who gets fired, but it's not like a high school coaching staff where your running backs coach deals with just the running backs, and it's it's a collaborative effort nowadays, just the way that people are hired. I mean,
So they'll wake him up in the corner and say, "Hey, Terry, stop napping. Come over here and give me your input."
no, but I mean, look what they've done with Hugh Jackson, man. Hugh Jackson's that guy. It's gonna be. They just want in all the meetings. This is probably just a guy they want in the meetings with them. I mean, I don't know. He may be a bad coach, but I don't think it matters. He hasn't coached running backs.
I'll say this
Since
though,
then.
listening to these names: Doug Marrone, head coach; Mike McCoy, possible offensive coordinator. He hasn't gotten hired yet. His name is just out there. And now this guy, Trubisky, as running back. This sounds like the Jags have adapted to the new fun and gun NFL, right?
Well,
It's all about an edge, man. Young and
Man, we're going to be lighting the league up.
well. Let me throw this out
All
there
right.
real quick, because I mean, Jason, that's a good insight. I don't know that. I've never coached football, so that's good to know. But do you think there's any chance that the OCs that are coming in and all these people are being told that, hey, we don't have the cap space, we're running with Bortles for another year, and we're drafting a rookie quarterback?
do I think that's what they are doing? Is that what
Do you think there's any chance of that? That's why nobody's
yeah,
wanting a
definitely.
job.
There's a chance. There's definitely a chance for that. I love arguing with people about they're keeping Bortles, and I get Jags fans. I do it just out of jest, but I gets them so fired up.
Absolutely, it does.
Think about it. Think about the money we save, and they just get fired up.
But
But,
it's
no, I mean, it's a possibility, but no,
What percent wise? 20%?
1%.
1%.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think it might be more than that.
I think it's way more than that, but
I would not be shocked if Bortles is on this team next year.
I wouldn't be either.
Gosh, what a turn of events that would be.
I would not be shocked.
I would. Okay, so let's stay on this offensive coordinator train here. This is from Pete. He's at Coach L Tweets. He says, "Do y'all have a preference for the offensive coordinator hire? At this point, I don't think there's a front runner, and I don't think the front office knows what they want."
I do. Jason Trent.
Me too.
I don't. I think it's hard to say. It's hard to say what the front office wants because they might have wanted Kubiak and he's not an option anymore. They may have wanted Bevel and he didn't want the job or they couldn't come to an agreement. And then a lot of these, just you have to consider the the position. You know, if I like Eric Bieniemy from Kansas City, but he's not going to leave Kansas City as the offensive coordinator to come to Jacksonville to be the offensive coordinator. That's not a lateral move. That's a backwards move. He wants to be a head coach somewhere. This is a tough sell right now, especially if that hypothetical is even remotely true that maybe they keep Bortles for another year, which I'm not saying it is. I don't think that is, but you know, it's just a hard sell right now. We have no wide receivers. We have no tight end. We have a terrible offensive line. We don't have a quarterback. Have we mentioned that yet? We don't have a quarterback, and we're trying to hire an offensive coordinator. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? So I think their options are limited. You could give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they are being patient about this and they're taking their time to make sure they get the right guy. And there's something to be said about that. Maybe they are. I think as fans, we want to, look, it's mid-January, okay? It's mid-January. There is time. If we hire an offensive coordinator right now at this very moment, what's going to change? You know what I mean? It's not like all of a sudden we're set for next year. So they should take their time. They should make sure they get the right guy. But at the same time, the names are getting checked off the list. So, we'll see what they do. But I have a feeling whoever they hire is not going to be someone Jags fans get all super excited about. I just don't think that name is out there. I don't think that person exists.
I don't think there's anyone left, really, at this point either to get really super excited about. Let alone, why would they come here?
Yeah. Well, to answer his question at this point, I think I'd want Bevel if we could get him. But
what about this?
John DeFilippo wouldn't be bad either. I mean, they're both unemployed. So what else are they gonna do? Not coach?
I guess it would be. Never mind. I was gonna say a name, but it would be a pay cut for him. I was gonna say Dan Mullen. Why not? He's got a good offensive mind. Great with quarterbacks.
Mojo on the Gators,
There's
man.
no way Dan Mullen would leave Florida
That's
right
what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
it'd be a backwards move.
huge pay cut.
He's got like one of the best receivers are committed to him out of nowhere. So
Yeah, he's already promised like 19 kids like the world.
So he
he's not
has a
doing that.
receiver. The Jaguars don't have a receiver.
It's true.
All right. Well, the King at the Noah Bennett wants to know, why would the Jaguars be hiring position coaches before an offensive coordinator? Seems completely backwards. Can I take this one?
Can you say
Yeah,
that
please.
again?
Why would the Jaguars be hiring position coaches before an offensive coordinator?
Okay.
Seems completely backwards. This is my theory. I could be wrong. Probably not, though. I think Doug Marrone is taking more responsibility of play calling this year. And I think he was like, you know what? I'm over this. I'm over watching these coordinators come in and be crap and call terrible plays on third down. From now on, I'm going to be calling third downs. So, offensive coordinator, you got first and second down, as stay in my guidelines. But third down, or maybe just key downs, I'm calling the plays. And he's taking over that duty. If he's doing that, then it doesn't really matter who the offensive coordinator is. If Doug hands him a stack of plays and is like, call these on first and second, and then I'm calling third, it doesn't really matter who that guy is. And good guys, highly touted offensive coordinators aren't going to want to come into that situation anyways. So he may have an idea of what he wants to do with the offense this year. So Marrone, taking more ownership of the offense, can get the guys around that he wants. Whether that's good or bad, I think that's why they're hiring position coaches right now.
Yeah, if you want the future in your own hands, I mean, I could get that. I mean, this is his year. His job's on the line. Would you not? If
you're going to go out calling plays.
Exactly.
I mean, it makes sense.
Go out on your own terms. Yeah. And like you said, that's also why we're not going to get a young up and comer. We're not going to get a big name. If they come in and Marrone says, hey, man, I'm going to handle the majority of the play calling, you can't bring in your coordinators or your offense. It's going to be mine. They're not going to take that job. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Theories?
No, I mean, it has to be that, because anything else, that is backwards. The King is right. That is a backwards way of going about things. So to me, that is the only solution. And maybe that's the problem they're having with hiring a guy, that saying, look, you're the offensive coordinator by title, but really your job's going to be much less. And really, if I'm Marrone, I don't fault that. It makes me wonder, though, if you have that desire, why didn't you do that last year too?
Yeah, that would frustrate me the most. Like, if you feel like you could call the plays and you could run the offense, like, he should have stepped in a long time ago last year. I mean, that's kind of frustrating. And I understand why he would do it now, but he could have done that a long time ago.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Yeah, we move on. Next question. This is from King Dawn. He's at no_flex. He says, we need to get the offense going, starting at the quarterback position. I feel like Philadelphia is going to pick between Wentz and Foles. We should pursue one if released, and we have to get some receivers to pose a deep threat. I think our main focus should be offense.
Well, Philadelphia said today that Wentz is their starting quarterback.
And not only that, we can't afford either one of them. I don't think we're going to be able to pay. I mean, I think Foles is going to end up getting $20 million a year, which I don't think we're going to shell out for Foles. I mean, I don't think it's the popular opinion, but I'm pretty sure I would not be shocked at all if Joe Flacco shows up in a Jags jersey next year. I think if we're going veteran, I think he's the one that comes out. Otherwise, I don't think we're going to get any veteran quarterback, and it's going to be strictly through the draft. Or it's going to be Bortles. Very unpopular opinion, but I would not be shocked.
I have to agree. I think we see Flacco in a Jaguars uniform. I'm not super happy about it, but I think we get him at a discount. Fits within the cap numbers, and hopefully we don't take a quarterback until the second round in the draft.
The more that I consider and watch Foles, it's not like I dislike him. I don't know. I'm just not sold on him at all. I know he's had a good playoff run, but good success with the Eagles just concerns me. I just don't see him coming here and turning the franchise around. I just don't.
Well, there's also a reason that Philadelphia is not keeping him over Wentz. I mean, they see him every day. We see him when he gets out there and plays. I mean, yeah, he's a spark, and he's done phenomenal the past 2 years. But if he was that much better, they'd be keeping him. You know, I mean, that says something. Don't we have a Twitter question about his nickname?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay.
No, but I mean, I
what's going on there, but
I just don't think he's the answer, and I think we could overpay for him, and he will not do anything for us. He might get us to 8 wins, but that's not what we're trying for. So I think Jags fans really need to come to terms with the fact that next year is going to be a bumpy ride.
Absolutely.
I think for me, the biggest one too is that I'm not ready. Any of the veteran quarterbacks that are out there ready to give any of them a 4-year deal. I don't want to be locked into one of these guys for 4 years. Whoever we bring in, I want to see kind of a 2-year deal. None of these guys are going to come on a 1, so I'm fine with a 2. But I don't want to see a 4. And Nick Foles is going to get a 4-year deal next year, no matter who it's from. And that's what worries me.
And again, that's why Flacco fits. I mean, he takes a 2-year deal. He gets paid again, plays whatever he does next year, mentors a guy up, and then he's out. I mean, that kind of makes sense.
And that's the problem, though, there, too. And that's where I'm a little nervous with Flacco, though. He doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to be a mentor either, though. He seems to me he's going to be the guy that's going to run our offense for a year or two, but not be a mentor. It's just going to give our guy time to kind of sit back and get ready. But,
even more reason to draft a true stud in 2020 as opposed to reaching this year.
I mean, I understand, but look what he did with Lamar Jackson. I mean, he kind of just sat back, sat on the bench, touchdowns, no emotion. Again, he lost his job to him. I'm not going to be like, oh, you should be cheering him on fully, but I mean, I don't see him being a mentor to Lamar Jackson right now.
So Flacco would have to pretty much be traded, because if they cut him, they would owe him $16 million.
We have trades.
So we would have to trade them, and so we would have to pay him $16 million, probably.
Flacco for Bortles straight up?
So Flacco would go.
We already owe Bortles $16 million anyway.
So we would have Flacco and Bortles both on the payroll. Even if Bortles got cut, you still owe him his dead cap money. So if you're looking at a difference between probably $10 million between Flacco and Foles, just for reference.
Yeah,
so
they're talking about cutting.
Flacco's not cheap.
They're talking
I
about
doubt
cutting
they'll
Flacco.
cut. Dude, I don't know, man. They're taking a $16 million hit on that if they do that.
That's a legitimate discussion that they're going to cut Flacco.
I think they'll trade him for a late pick, and then whoever, I mean, basically, you get Flacco if you can pay him becomes the deal. And so teams will do it because it's only for 1 year. But in a team in the Jags cap situation, you're not looking at a huge difference between a guy like Foles and Flacco. Flacco's not cheap. Like, he's not a cheap quarterback. So he's a short-term quarterback, but he's not cheap by any means. So that's the trade-off you're getting with Flacco. You're probably still going to have to make some cuts to bring him in.
So what you're telling me is we're back on the Blake Bortles train for next year.
The reality is good quarterbacks don't exist in free agency.
Yeah.
They stay with their teams.
Yeah, why would they?
So, I mean, I understand everyone's desire to like bring someone in, but it just doesn't work that way. I mean, the last time that really happened was Peyton Manning in the latter stages of his career. And then, I guess you could say the Chargers with Drew Brees to New Orleans, but that is rare. That is the exception. It is certainly not the rule.
And both of those were after pretty severe injuries.
Correct.
And I'm not worried about. Flacco had good numbers this year. I mean, they had that, what was it, 3-game lose streak, and that's when he got benched. But we're talking about, everyone keeps saying they want us to be a run first offense. We need a guy to manage. That guy can manage a game. Even if he's older now. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be slinging it downfield. He's going to be this like monstrous quarterback, but that guy has been in the league long enough and he's been well above average. He can manage a game.
I mean, if you're bringing in a game manager, bring in Tyrod Taylor for half that. If that's all he's going to do. I mean, Tyrod Taylor can manage a game for $8 million, $7 million, not 18. So, I mean, if you're going to get a manager, don't pay a top-tier price tag for a guy you're going to bring in to manage the game. Could you trust Flacco a little more than Taylor? Probably depends on who you ask, to be honest, because Taylor started more playoff games recently than Flacco has. So, I don't know. Maybe. The only thing is I could see Flacco being like a Coughlin and Marone guy. So I could see them overpaying for him, but I don't think that's a good decision.
I mean, they very well may have the mentality that they're just going to bring in a guy and look to 2020.
Well, you also have Teddy Bridgewater out there, which could be a 1-year stopgap, hoping he doesn't get his arms and legs ripped off. I mean,
he hasn't done anything.
He's pretty
in the
skinny.
NFL, though.
he is skinny and he's tiny. I'm not talking
Pretty small.
about, I wouldn't have drafted him number 7 overall as a franchise quarterback. I'm saying as a stopgap for a year, that could be a bargain pick. I mean, he's like literally the only guy out there you're getting in the $10 to $15 million range.
And the crazy thing is, I think it's funny when people keep bringing him up. I mean, his numbers aren't good either the last time he played. I mean, he hasn't done anything, and then he's been hurt.
He had like some like randomly good games, like preseason. He had good preseasons, and he had like when he filled in, he was pretty good. And before he got hurt, he was pretty good. For whatever that means.
There's no way they can bring Bortles back.
There's no way. There's
not
0% chance of bringing Bortles back.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it
I would
on
hate
paper it
On
makes
paper,
sense,
it makes
but
sense, but you can't
it's not.
do that.
It's not happening.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
For everybody involved.
But that's the thing. Okay, I agree. You can't do that, but there's not another option out there that makes sense.
Well, no, it doesn't, and that's the predicament that the Jaguars are in. That he actually makes the most sense in terms, financially, but it's not going to happen. It's absolutely not going to happen.
We need someone that can throw. That's the
Right.
bottom line. Someone's got to be able to throw the ball. Bortles can manage the game as a scrambler, as a guy who doesn't get hurt, but he can't throw the ball, which has got to be the first thing you look for in a quarterback, even over durability.
So you bring in somebody who's not durable, can't scramble, but can throw.
That's still better than someone who can't throw.
I agree. And then you draft offensive line and quarterback in the second round so that guy doesn't have to scramble and has time to throw.
It's very possible.
I mean, they could do that, but second round quarterbacks don't usually work out is the only problem. First round quarterbacks.
Well, they don't have to work out. It's, again, you draft a quarterback, you hope he works out, and then you're banking on 2020 being the year where you get an absolute stud.
Okay, that's one strategy. That would be crappy for the fans, but
Well, it's a year, man. I'd rather that happen than like completely sell the house to get
And the other thing too
somebody
is
who's not good.
if that's what they're committed to and that's their mentality, then Coughlin, Caldwell, Marone will all be back the next year too. They probably, told the powers that be above them, Tony Khan, Shad Khan, like this is the deal. And if they had that meeting, and yeah, they're gonna be back as well. So I don't know. This is a weird. I don't know. Getting a new quarterback is supposed to be more exciting than this.
Hey, I'm on the Browns train. Draft the quarterback until you hit one.
There's no reason not to draft one every year.
Yeah.
all right, this question kind of goes to that. This is from Chris Timmerman, and he's at ctimmerman35. He says, has there ever been a more 180 shift for fans' expectations for this franchise than the last 365 days.
Wow.
Everyone was coming out of the woodwork to buy tickets last year. Now there is so much uncertainty about New Year. Teams and loyalist supporters are showing any optimism.
I mean, it's not our fault they built the dog park.
It's true. It's not our fault. We actually tried to make them not do that.
That's a great question. I mean, no, I doubt it. I can't think of anything. I mean, I can't think of being so high and so low within a short period of time, especially going forward.
Yeah. I'd say, yes, this is the worst
Yeah.
it's been. And I don't know if it's going to get better real quick.
If you're worried about the bandwagoners, though, I mean, you're gonna have bandwagoners with anything.
Yeah.
Anyone that wins has bandwagoners, right? Like Joey has fans of this podcast. We don't understand how it happens,
No.
but anytime you're doing good, you're gonna have bandwagon fans.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen so many Jaguars hats walking around Jacksonville until this year.
But I think going into next season, if you have that expectation and you're being realistic, it kind of like takes that like weight off you as far as this is what's going to happen. I hope they make the right decisions to build towards not being bad for another 10 years, but being okay next year and then back on track the following year.
Thing is, if they're okay next year, then that's going to make it harder to get their quarterback again.
It'll be harder, but at that point, I could justify the trading up to get who you want.
This is the deal right now too. I mean, this was such a downswing of a year, but the only thing I'm hopeful for is we have talent still. Our offense is obviously abysmal right now. But we have people like Leonard Fournette who hopefully can make a turn. We have a couple good offensive linemen if we can just kind of figure out between free agency, maybe the draft to shore up the line a little bit. I mean, we have Marquise Lee coming back next year. Hopefully he can be who they needed him to be last year. We can shore up a quarterback, even just a guy to kind of help run the game. Defense is still good. We could, I mean, I'm not saying we're going to go to the AFC Championship next year, but we could very well, have a solid team next year.
We have talent, except in the one position that matters the most.
Yeah.
Which is quarterback. Look at the last 4 teams standing this season right now. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, and Jared Goff.
And
Those
where do
guys
they
are
rank
studs.
defense, too? That's the other question.
Yeah, they have great teams around them, but none of them have an average or below average quarterback. They all need a good quarterback. And so until we get some semblance of that, like it's not going to work. It's just not. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but we have a division that we're in that is on the uptick with Andrew Luck healthy, a young Deshaun Watson, and the Titans who, whether they make the playoffs or not, seem to beat us no matter what. So they had got to figure this out. And whether that means waiting a year and waiting till 2020 or, putting all your chips on the table for a Haskins or a Kyler Murray or who have you, it's concerning. It's very concerning because we can talk about Ramsey and Campbell and Fournette and guys getting healthy till the cows come home. But if you don't have a quarterback, it does no good.
I got kind of a good trivia question. Jason, do you have like another Twitter like lineup that segues well, or?
We have something we didn't get to, but I'm interested in the trivia questions. So
Okay,
go ahead.
so let's throw this out there because you mentioned quarterback, how important it is, and you mentioned Tom Brady. So I'm gonna name 1, 2, 3, like 5 quarterbacks here, and tell you how many playoff games they played in to start with. Starting with the most: Peyton Manning, 27; Brett Favre, 24; Joe Montana, 23; Roethlisberger, 21; and Elway, 21. Again, this is how many playoff games they played in.
There's a question in there somewhere?
Yes, the question is, how many playoff wins does Tom Brady have?
Wait, how many did he have again? He had 23 playoff appearances? How many?
I didn't mention him at all on that list.
Oh.
Well,
So the top one was Peyton Manning at 27 playoff appearances.
And then what was the question?
How many playoff wins does Tom Brady have right now?
Is it 23?
Good guess.
Well, this is their 8th straight
Say
year
21,
making it to
21.
the
I'm gonna say
AFC
I'm
Championship.
gonna say 33.
I'm going to say 21.
Ooh.
I'll say 28.
28 is the right number, James.
Thank you.
He has
cheated.
more playoff.
He's on his phone right now.
Dude, he has more playoff. He's not. He has more playoff wins than the greatest quarterbacks of all time have appearances. I mean, that's insane. That's how important the quarterback position is. 8 straight AFC Championship games.
Yep.
I mean, it's it. That's football now.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
And the Jaguars as a franchise have yet to hit on that position in the first round.
Yeah.
And really, you could really say at all. I mean, I guess Garrard is the somewhat asterisk in that. But how many years did Garrard start for the Jags? It wasn't a long tenure.
Like
People
3.
weren't crazy about Garrard when he was
Right.
here. We look
Yeah.
back going, oh, he's pretty good. But when he was here, people were like, we got to get someone different in here. I mean, so Burnell was really the only quarterback that people...
And Burnell's not
me.
making the Hall of Fame, man. I
No.
mean,
So, I mean, it's been something we as a fan base have been waiting for a long time, and it's yet to happen. So
Kyler Murray.
they need to figure it out. Yeah.
does he have a quick release, Jason?
Quick release, fast release, everything. Everything
Yeah.
you can possibly want besides the height.
And wait.
At this point, listen, I don't think they will, but at this point, if number 7 Jacksonville Jaguars take Kyler Murray, Oklahoma, I'd be like, all right, let's go.
Let's roll.
Let's go. Just because I'm grown impatient. I'm not saying it's the right move. I don't think it is, but
We're not getting any younger. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. Just give us something. Just give us something. But again, it kind of goes back to the same thing with Marone calling his own plays. Is that who they're going to hang their hat on? A type of quarterback and the size of a quarterback that has not proven successful in the league. Are they going to bet on him? I would say probably not.
We do want to apologize to the people that we didn't read your Twitter handles. We ended up answering a lot of questions in the conversation without reading them. So a big shout out to all the people on the Twitter thread that gave us questions. We didn't read your handle, but we did answer your question just in conversation inadvertently because we don't do producer meetings. So
No.
that's why.
We have a text thread that sometimes people respond to. All right, is that it? That wraps it up?
I think it's pretty
All
good,
right.
man. I mean,
Okay, cool. Well, that'll do it. Make sure to send us more questions, more feedback, more comments on Twitter at Another Jags Pod. And listen, if you're not on Twitter and you listen to this podcast, you can ask questions on Facebook. Find us at Another Jags Podcast or Instagram. I think they have instant messages. You can message on
DMs.
DMs. Is that what
Yeah.
it's called? That's
Yeah.
what the kids say.
Yeah.
Okay. You can ask us on Instagram as well at Another Jags Podcast, or go on YouTube and ask us there. And Joey will be there with his hat on backwards, hanging out, watching all sorts of woodworking videos
Hey,
and whatnot.
you can ask Mr. Patrick Jackson. There was real-time answers to his questions as he was listening to the pod in England. So,
Okay, there you go.
Where do you get that anywhere else? I don't think you do.
Nowhere. So you can go on YouTube as well. We love including everyone in this podcast because it is for Jaguar fans, because that's what we are. We're going to have a long offseason, everyone. Buckle up, but it is not going to lack for any sort of conversation or debate. And real quick, we do have conference championship games going this weekend. Say real quick, Joey, Patriots, and Chiefs. Who you got?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Okay, Jason,
I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Robert.
Pats.
I'm going Patriots as well. Saints and Rams. Joey.
I'll go ahead and put my kiss of death now on the Saints to win the Super
man.
Bowl. So we're going with the Saints on that one.
Okay. Jason.
I'm going to go Saints, but it wouldn't surprise me. I'm just supposed to be quick. I don't know. The line's intriguing to me.
Okay.
I think that's all I'm going to say.
All right.
Okay.
So you're picking the Saints.
I'm picking the Saints.
Okay. Robert.
I'm going Saints. It's going to be like a high-scoring game, but I'm going Saints.
Okay. I'm going to say the Saints, and I'm going to say Dante Fowler has 17 sacks.
You had to get him in.
That's right.
Had to get him in.
That'll do it for this episode. We'll see y'all again next week. Thanks a lot. And as always, go Jags.